Hello, welcome to Here's Now to part 6 of Brand New to EFT. We are building guns today. I'm making a couple of assumptions. I'm going to assume you're at least level 15, so you have access to the flea market. I'm going to assume that you have a firing range, and I'm going to assume that you have a workbench. So first we're going to go to the MP5. I'm going to show you a couple of different things that you can do, a couple of different pitfalls. Alright, first we're going to jump into the weapon preset screen, what this does. So this is going to show you all the different things that your gun can do right now. This is based on what you have equipped on your gun. This is based on, notice that there's no sight location. The only thing I can do is put a rail on it to put a sight on it, but there's no sight drop down. Now when I add a rail to put a sight on, a new tab pops up, a new thought bubble pops up. Now these are all the different sights that I can put on here. Now again, you're going to have to put something on it that can go on it. So we're going to put the rings on. Now again, open up a new screen. Now all of these sights that you couldn't see before, I can't put those sights directly on there. I can't rest them on there. So now I can put my TAC 30 on my MP5. I would never recommend doing that, but that's something you could do. If I go in here and put my JP 30, now I have a spot where I can put my red dot up there. I can put my TAC 30 down here. Those didn't show up before. Now if I take off that rail, all of that stuff goes away. Now, you want to know how your gun is reacting to what you're doing. So if I'm adding this rail, how does that affect my stats of this gun? Obviously, it's going to allow me to have a sight, but what does it do with the stats? Open up this tab here, and this is your current gun's stats. And in real time, it's going to tell you exactly what's going on. Now, if this ends up blocking anything, you can move this around. A lot of people don't know that. Move that around. But now let's see, okay, when I put a sight on it, all it does is adds a little bit of weight. You see that at 0.07, that's all it adds is a little bit of weight. Now when I go in here, I can actually cycle through, oh, that hurts my ergo, that hurts my ergo more, that hurts my ergo less, that. Now, you got to pay attention. Sometimes you have to do some math or some mental math, because this one does -2, if I put this Cobra on here, -2 ergo. But it unlocks the ability for me to put this Cobra sight on it, which is +3. So overall, adding this sight to the gun actually gives me +1 ergo. But you can't see that until you start to build it all the way out. So you might have to keep a pad of paper near you and write some stuff down. I can change this gun entirely to make it a suppressed weapon simply by putting a couple of attachments on the front. Now I know what these things are. You can mess around with this individually, but like I can just slap an Osprey on the front, boom, I have a suppressor. I can put a DT hybrid on the front, hybrid sight, now I have a suppressor. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about changing the gun entirely to become basically a different kind of a weapon. MP5 is a good example of this. Not many other guns do this. I'm going to change the core of the gun here to be an MP5 SD. Now the whole gun just fell apart, but now I can put a different MP5 suppressed barrel in there, and this is like a core MP5 suppressed gun. I put that handguard on there. That looks very different than me just slapping a suppressor on the front of the gun. It also changes what I can do as far as mounts. This is how I'm going to be able to get a laser on the front of my gun, but I also can't put a handguard on the front because of that, because I have limited myself on my handguard. Now let's look at, notice that you can't put a front grip on this gun. Well, if we change it and we change it to one of these, again, you can kind of see that there's teeth on the bottom of these things. Change it to the front, boom, these just opened up. Now I can put a X400, my preferred flashlight. I can put a front grip on it, just like that. So as you grow your gun by clicking on these different things, often more options will arise based on those things. Alright, now we're going to look at the AKM. Same thing, right click, edit preset. I'm going to jump in here. Now I want to put a sight on this gun. There's a couple of different ways you can put a sight on these kinds of guns. One of them is by putting on a particular kind of dust cover, but you notice that it shows that this can go here, but it's telling you that it can't be installed because there's a conflict with another part. So the 6P1SB2, what the heck? It sounds way more complicated. Really, it's just this front sight. That's going to happen a lot with most of these AKs. So I would say if you're going to outfit these AKs to get started, just to clear off that sight right away. Now, at the bottom when it's green like that, it means you have all the parts without having to purchase anything in order to complete it. Over here, you can click the assemble button with the puzzle pieces, and it's good to go. Now, if I back out, it'll show that is gone. That sight is gone. You can see the piece up here. Back to edit preset. Now we're going to drop Bastion dust cover because that's the one that I have most accessibility to. That's another important part about trying to assemble weapons versus level 1 traders, 2 traders, 3, 4, flea market, access, price, cost. You can outfit the absolute best gun in the game pretty much as soon as you unlock the flea market, but the cost of it is going to be insane. I'm going to illustrate that here. There's this generic stock is not bad, but it's not good. But you can put this butt pad on the back and make it way better. We're going to watch this with the stats down here. So no butt pad. I've got 40 ergo and 95 vertical recoil. For this butt pad, I get -8 on my vertical recoil and +2 ergo, just for sticking a little butt pad on the back. And that's a way cheaper option than trying to go through some convoluted stock process. Some of these are very expensive. And when I go to buy this butt pad, once I've changed something on my gun, I just go up here and go to assemble. It's going to tell me there's bastion dust cover in the butt pad. Buy. No problem. Look how cheap those are. Down here in the middle, it says 10,376. That's how much that costs. Excellent. Purchase that. Now I'm going to hit the back button. And now you see we have all the parts in order to get this done. Assemble. We're good to go. So that's kind of how you get your gun assembled. Now going back to what I was talking about, cost versus building the best gun in the game. Well, if I come in here and look at this little rubber butt pad and I go filter by item, this is how you're going to search for items on the flea market or in the traders to see how much they cost. Now I can see who's selling it is Prapper, off Prapper level 2, 4,051. But if I don't buy it from Prapper, it's actually pretty cheap right now, but it's way more expensive. It's 5 times more expensive, and those are flying off the shelves. I would say normally this is a $30,000 piece because it's so nice to be able to just throw that on your gun. But I can buy it from Prapper at Prapper level 2. Once you get Gunsmith 6 done, you have access to this. I'm able to buy it for 4,051 compared to 22,000 or 21,000. Typically, I would say around 30,000 because I got Gunsmith 6 Part 1 done. So an important part of being able to continue to grow and build better weapons, getting tasks done is going to change that a lot. We're going to illustrate that again right here. I'm going to go into Edit Preset. Now I have access to the flea market, so I have access to pretty much any of these things because I could just buy them. But this one in particular, the AK-100 right here, gives me the ability to put a front grip on my gun, and it gives me the ability to put a light on the side of my gun. Now that's a very inexpensive piece to get because I am also buying that for Prapper for not even 1,500 rubles. That's super cheap for me to be able to put a front grip and a light on there. But I could get this before the flea market and for such a cheap price because I got Gunsmith level 4 done. If I don't have Gunsmith level 4 done, this is not something that I would have access to, and I would have no way of putting a front grip on my AK. Speaking of getting gun setups for cheaper, we're going to go through and look at one of my favorite suppressors in the game because it's a really high-end suppressor that you can always get for cheap because people don't know about barters. So I'm going to go in here and I'm going to do the DT Hybrid. It's another reason I like this because most guns can put the DT Hybrid on there and therefore they can put the Hybrid 46. Now, we're going to go to Assemble, Buy, see that it is $737 from Peacekeeper. That's a lot of dollars. It's a cheap adapter, but it's a really expensive suppressor. So if I go up here to the middle, I can actually say I don't want to sort just by traders. So I can open it up. Look at that. 77,000 rubles for this thing, which is actually low. So we're going to go in here and look at this hybrid site. Look at that. So 77,000 is a low ball. That's a low ball offer. That's going to be gone very shortly. But I would say typically 95 to 100,000 is what you're going to see for this suppressor. Now, what people don't do is that they don't have barters turned on. So anytime you're in the flea market, I want you to go over here to your little cog, and I want you to uncheck remove barter offers. And I want you to remember selected filter. So make sure this isn't checked and check the remember selected filter. So every time you go in and search for anything on the flea market, you have the barter option available. Now, all this is 4 RAM. I can trade this for mechanic level 2. You have to be mechanic level 2 for 4 RAM. So I can go in here and hit purchase, and now the RAMs are there. I don't have any RAM. Filter by item. Not bad. Look at that. 4 RAM, that's 51,000, which even then, that RAM's kind of expensive right now. I would say normally it's like 10,000, 11,000, but still, I got that for 57,000. I hit back. DT hybrid site. Right there. See, back up to 90,000. This is a very expensive suppressor. Purchase. I have my 4 RAM. Done. Now I can go back into this build and hit assemble again. And now it's only going to buy that thread mount because I already bought it through the barter. So it's just going to charge me the 4,600 for the thread. Boom, I have it equipped. So I just put a 100,000 ruble suppressor on my AK for roughly 57, for roughly half price. And I would say that normally I can get RAM for 9 to 9,500. So then you're spending like 40% of the total price. The other thing that you can do when you're building a gun is maybe you want a sight, or maybe you want a pistol grip, but you just want the cheapest one that's an upgrade. You don't care, right? So like I just need, typically I would say in this situation, suppressors is a really good one to do. So I'm gonna take the suppressor off the gun. All right. I just want a suppressor. I just want the cheapest suppressor. I'm not worried about it. So I'm going to go in here and I'm going to go linked search. That means that anything that can go on this gun will show up in the flea market here. So I'm going to go into link search, and this is going to show me, you can use this before you hit the flea market as well. Go over here to the left, and you're going to have little drop down tabs. And I'm going to go into functional mods, muzzle devices, and just click on suppressors. Don't do the drop down suppressors. These are the suppressor options. I don't want the suppressor options. I just want to click on suppressors. Now it's showing me, see, I've got the AKM, rotor, AKM. It's showing me whatever suppressor is currently available that goes right onto my gun that I can just run and go with. Now notice it doesn't show me the DT hybrid suppressor because that won't fit on my gun. I have to do the DT hybrid adapter before the suppressor will fit. Okay, now let's say you want to do the same thing for a sight. If we go here and go linked search, and I look, it's not actually going to, oh, sights, look. Oh no, it's actually giving you like the iron sights. These are the iron sight variants. You're like, well, what can I just strap directly onto my gun where I want a sight on it, but I don't want to mess with a whole bunch of different things? That's when you have to do the parts individually. So we're going to go in here and find our Bastion dust cover with the teeth on it, the thing on the top rail, and we're going to do a linked search on that. We're going to do the same process, functional mods, sights, but this time we're going to look for something like maybe optics or whatever. If you click on here, you're going to be able to see, boom, right there, Jaeger sells me something that will snap onto my gun for $8,400 or 8,400 rubles. OP, reflex sight, great. These all work. I don't care. I just want the cheapest thing. Boom, go. All right, now the absolute most important part of crafting a gun. We're going to do our linked search again, going back to the AKM because I feel like this is a very popular series, the AK series, 7.62 ammo. We're going to go to linked search. We're going to click on ammo. And this is going to be the ammo that you have access to. Now, this is all the different people selling all the different things. This time we are going to use the drop down. Go to the tabs here. And pretty immediately you can see what's available on the flea market and what's not. Basically, if there's only one in this category, probably not available to be sold on the flea. So if I go to BP, look at that, there's none. Go to US, there's none. The T45, Prapper sells it, people sell it on the flea market, PS ammo. Now, how do you know which ammo's good and which ammo's bad? What makes for good ammo, what makes for bad ammo? Good ammo is high pen ammo. I'm assuming that you're new to this game, so there's 100 caveats to what I just said. But good ammo is high penetration ammo. How do you know if it's high penetration? Well, you'd think you'd go in here and hit inspect, and it would tell you some information. Basically, all this information is total crap. It might tell you velocity or whatever. You're going to go to the wiki and go to the ballistics page. Link down in the description. For part 7, we're going to be going over all of the resources that you will be using that are not in Tarkov. I'm talking about Map Genie for maps. I'm talking about the wiki for how to get all the tasks done, the ballistics page for how ammo works, YouTube channels that I've found useful, Airwing Marine, Gigabeef, Landmark. Do not go watch Landmark's Twitch stream and think that you're going to be able to play like him. He is wildly entertaining. You should absolutely watch him. Do not watch him for how to play. He's better than you. I promise he's better than you. Thank you for watching, and check out part 7 here in just a second.